welcome to the garden. So I pulled the whole garden apart, if you've seen the last couple of videos, and I completely rearranged just about everything out here as far as the container garden goes. I really made a lot of big edits and a lot of big changes. And with that, I really changed this area next to, I got this pole right in the middle of my garden that goes up to our upstairs patio, and I do different things around it in the past, but I think today I'm going to put a lot of my edibles around that. And so I thought I would share with you just like my thought process with creating a kind of container, like arrangement of containers, creating an edible, basically all edible container garden out here with my edible plants. So we'll get started and I'll just show you how I kind of work through the process. So basically we're gonna work back to front. I gotta pick up the ground cherries. These ground cherries are producing like crazy. So I do wanna leave the area behind this big grow bag with the ground cherries open because I want the ground cherries to be able to fall on the ground and me to be able to harvest them easily. Those right here next to my coffee. Okay, and then we're gonna work on front to back. So I'm gonna start with some of the taller things, which aren't necessarily the biggest containers, always in my garden the way it's worked out this year. I have this better bush tomato, or I don't think this is a better bush. I can't remember what kind of tomato plant this is. It's gotten really tall, doesn't have any tomatoes on it. So, I mean, I'm tempted to just kind of like let it go, but I think I'm gonna keep it. This is probably the tallest thing that I have in a separate pot. I do have a rose over here and some zinnias, so we will leave that. There's some more ground cherries. So we'll leave the zinnia and the pot over here, but I think we'll probably move the tomatoes over there. And then I've got a few of these eggplants, but they're not gonna get quite as tall as the tomato. What I do have that is going to get tall is my corn in a container, which is looking beautiful. It's doing really well this year. It looks like I might need to spray it with something because I see some snails climbing on it, but it's gonna get bigger. Now it's not gonna get the size of full-size corn because it is in a container, but it is gonna get probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet tall. So it's in a big pot, it's gonna be 3 or 4 feet tall. We're gonna put that towards back. And then we've got some little peppers in these like 1 gallon containers. So I think a big line of the 1 gallon containers. And then we'll put in some of the beans and other things that we've got in front. And we've got room for maybe some other smaller containers, because I want to go ahead and grow some like lettuces and kales and different things in containers, but I'm not quite ready to plant those yet, so I'm just kind of like making room for them. So I'm gonna go ahead and move everything and then we'll see how it looks. Okay, and here we have it, a beautiful collection of edibles. So fairy tale eggplants in here that are going to be for harvest soon. We've got the corn. I did throw in gomphrena just because you have to add a few flowers, and this is a super beena, so there are a couple flowers in there. But then we've got the beans, which are doing really well. These are dragon tongue bush beans. They've gotten a little tall, so hopefully now they're in a really nice sunny spot and they're going to be really happy. And then a couple containers of the corn, a white night eggplant, and of course the beautiful ground cherries, which are doing so well. I do also have this container blueberry, which is a super great, there's just ground cherries everywhere, a super great container blueberry, and so I'm just going to pop that there, and that will be happy. And we've still got some room to walk through here, but a nice just arrangement. It's a lot of green, so usually I mix more flowers in, but it's kind of fun right now just to show you what it can look like to have a ton of edibles, and it's still really gorgeous, and yeah, I think gonna be really happy and really fun collection of food in that space. Creating arrangements with containers is actually a lot harder than I think, at least to me, it was a lot harder than it looks. I I definitely initially thought like, oh, I'll just, pop the containers down, they'll all just grow up together, everything will look beautiful. It doesn't always work that way. A lot of it is hard before you plant because you have to anticipate the height of the plants. Once you've got things in containers, like what I did just now, is so much easier because you can kind of see what the heights are. And I have just come to the approach that moving containers a lot is totally going to be part of my personal process. I am not one to, I guess, to just like have a big containers in place and then not move them out throughout the year. Actually, at the beginning of the season, made a video because I was like gonna do a challenge myself and just put all the containers in one spot and then leave them there throughout the season. And if you've been watching for the last couple months, you know that that is not what I've done, not what I enjoy doing. I love the process of changing the garden. It's like having a home or something like that. Even the landscape I like to change and move perennials and transplant plants. I think it's so fun, and part of it is probably because I have a small garden, but I just love that. And the container garden really lends itself to the process of just editing and changing and moving things, and there's always somewhere different to put things, and it's really just a fun process, and it kind of takes some practice. So I have found that throughout the last couple seasons, I just sort of chalk it up to practice, and I move the different containers around to different spots and figure out how I like things to look. Usually I like to mix a lot of my edibles in with flowers, and I like to have flowers everywhere. You know, this garden has flowers everywhere along with a lot of food. But you know, for the next couple weeks or so, we'll have all the edibles right there, and that'll be fun too. And then if I get sick of that, I can just move them. Also, if you're dealing with some different sun requirements and stuff too, then sometimes you need to make some changes to your containers, because sometimes certain things need more sun and they need to go to different spots. But basically, I think this looks really good for right now. I'm really happy with the garden at this stage, actually. And let me show you the overall, because I made a bunch of edits in the last. We'll start over here, one of my favorite areas. You walk through, and then behind the banana is the container pond, which this little fountain I've been really enjoying. It's kind of fun to have it bubbling up through this pot, and I don't know, it's a little different. And the plants are doing pretty well. Obviously, the hornwort is doing really well, and I'm gonna have to take some of that out soon because it's kind of taking over the whole pond. The lily pad is also growing and flourishing, and then we got so many layers of color in this area. I transplanted a bunch of echinacea and rudbeckia over there, which is having mixed results, but I tied up the cucamelons, and they are clearly doing just fine. And then talk about layers of containers. Look at this. I love this. And we're just waiting for the clematis to bloom again. But this collection of containers is kind of like what dreams are made of. I absolutely love it. And then over here, the containers, I just redid this area, and I think it looks really fun too. Kind of pared back for the summer as far as the containers go. And then this, I did consolidate a bunch of containers and move some plants around. We've got the squash coming up. They are growing beautifully. And some little seedlings, some of the zinnias we planted. So I did really consolidate. You know, there's a lot less containers out here, and that is something that you can do too. You know, take things out of different containers and put them into other ones, and that's basically what I did, which is kind of like pared it back. I do find that this time of year, especially as we get to like this real end of summer garden, it gets really wild. Everything gets really abundant in the raised beds. You know, the tomatoes on this tomato trellis are so crazy. And so then I kind of like to pare back the containers, because it's just like otherwise it's too much, it's too full, it feels a little bit too chaotic. So I just move things around, just take them out of different containers and put them in different places, or put them into raised beds, or whatever I feel like. But anyways, that is the garden after all the edits. She's still looking really beautiful. There's some fresh color, and yeah, it's just so fun. As always, thank you so much for spending a little time out here with me in the garden, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.